A24 presents the follow-up to a film that possessed a nation. The Puritan 2.
Cut! The blood's wrong. Molly Bennett, meet Maxxine Minx.
Pleased to meet you. Sorry.
We've all got blood on our hands now.
The past ain't finished with you, Maxxine. Ain't nowhere to hide. There's show business. You never work in this town again.
Maxxine, what are you hiding?
I've seen the devil stalking me. I can feel his power.
We've made it to the belly of the beast. You must eliminate all distractions, or the beast will spit you right back out.
Time to pay for your sins.
It's America's new Scream Queen.
Maxxine fucking Minx.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to our movie review for Maxxine. This section is going to be called Critics from the Crypt from now on. So, again, if you're looking for our movie reviews, it'll be in this section. So we have two, I would say, opposing reviews for this one, unfortunately. It gives me a real pit in my stomach to say that. But, if you guys have not seen Maxxine, of course, you got to go see the movie, and then you should come back for this review.
For sure,
we are going to be spoiling quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. First off, what was your experience with Maxxine? Do you feel like that the landing was cleared the way it should be when it comes to a trilogy?
I do believe the landing was very clear. I do think that it is the feel of the movie is a lot different from the first two. But as we've discussed before, the first two were filmed back to back. This one was filmed years later. Ty West has done a couple of different movies since then, but this one I thought it was pretty straightforward and clear.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you to a certain extent, but it also feels like Ty, he's mentioned before that before the X trilogy he was absolutely done with horror. He was not going to do another horror film. I don't want to feel like he was roped into this, but it does kind of feel like, there was some studio interference when it came to, this is something that needs to be concluded in a certain way.
Probably. And the fact that Mia Goth was not part of the script writing on this one, too, might have a big influence on how the feel of this movie came out. Though don't get me wrong, I quite enjoyed this movie, very much so. As somebody who has grown up with some religious trauma, I kind of really understood a lot more of what was going on with this film. Okay.
I feel like this movie, and I may, have some references that are thrown over your head a little bit, but when he was doing the De Palma stuff, like Body Double or Dress to Kill or something like that, it felt like there was a little more style over substance at that point. It felt like he was more in his wheelhouse when it came to kind of mirroring the B movies, Savage Streets with Sherry Curry and Linda Blair, or Angel, which is about a young girl that just happens to be a prostitute, and then there's a killer coming after her or whatever.
Right.
It feels like when he was in that pocket, that's when he was more in tune with what he was trying to do, I think.
Right. I mean, honestly, I think there really was only one scene in this movie that just did not need to be in there. The only reason why it was probably in there was to show how savage she has truly become.
Savage.
And that's can we talk about it?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
The Buster Keaton. There's this one scene where she's being followed, and this guy comes up behind her with a knife. And at first she's playing like the damsel in distress, and she turns around with a gun. And then she makes him the victim. So I feel like that scene in particular didn't need to be in the movie. It could have been on the cutting floor.
I do agree with that. I feel like that. I mean, clearly it shows that her rage is still present. Right. But I mean, there's so many other parts of the movie that shows that her rage is still very present. So it wasn't necessarily needed. You know what I mean? Right. So you felt like that was just kind of thrown in there just to do the whole nut bashing thing?
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I always felt like the Maxxxine character herself was very solid and very strong. Even when she was younger, like she could handle anything. But then, of course, it might be showing the PTSD and the trauma that she had accrued from that.
Sure, and I'm sure all that blow didn't help either.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. She did a lot of blow.
Which is like one of the, in my opinion, that is the greatest nod to the X trilogy. Mm-hmm. It's her little goose jar.
Yeah.
Filled with like basically a key of cocaine.
Yeah.
There ain't no cookies in that jar. But no, I think that when it comes to the nods to X, no, we won't just say nods. We'll just say like, you know, when he's trying to incorporate those flashbacks into the movie, I think they were very effective. That scene where she's, you know, like you've done life casting before, so you can probably, you know, sense how claustrophobic that.
Oh yeah, it gets very loud, very, very claustrophobic.
But especially when you have something on your mind like that,
right?
You know what I mean? Like that was very effective, and just the way he was able to, kind of like, you know, like Pearl's hands like are like rubbing on her and stuff. Like that was really cool.
Yeah,
he did that.
That was super cool.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, like I think the problem that I had with the movie, and listen, let me put a disclaimer out there. I absolutely love this movie. I just felt like there was a couple things in it that just didn't land well with me, and I think a lot of it had to do with the side characters. Really just felt kind of thrown in.
You had an issue with the cops.
I had an issue with the cops. Yeah. You know, it's because like again, you know, it felt like he was trying to do like this Tarantino thing. Mm-hmm. But the thing with Tarantino is there is a lot of character development, even when it comes to the side characters.
Yeah, there
wasn't really a lot there. You know, when it comes to the actual like, you know, like the beings themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just kind of felt like sort of things were thrown in, like even when Bobby Cannavale would go like, I wanted to be an actor, you know what I mean? Like it just felt like, you know, like there's your point, there's your story point. That's where the cop understands because he wanted to be an actor too, but he just happened to turn, you know, into
what do you think about the lawyer aspect?
I thought the lawyer aspect was great because, like, it would make sense that, you know, like if she's in the adult film world or whatever, to me, she has an agent that happens to be a mob guy too.
You know what? To be honest with you, he felt more like a pimp.
That could be too.
He didn't feel like an agent. He felt like a pimp.
But he was a monster, or whatever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He can get rid of people.
He could take care of the problem.
He definitely took care of the problem. And again, that was another beautiful shot. I'm not saying this movie is gorgeous. This movie's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. But it just, you know, like, it did feel like Pearl and X didn't feel like, you know, like he was like, hey, guys, this is what I'm doing now. I'm trying to mirror Toby Hooper. Or I'm trying to mirror The Wizard of Oz. It just kind of flowed. And this kind of felt like he was just kind of...
It felt disjointed.
It felt like he was doing homages, like,
it felt disjointed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I don't want to be too dramatic, but it felt like Ty there was a piece of his heart that was missing from this particular finale.
Well, it was probably the studios that took part of that heart out too. So
maybe.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe, but I'm just saying it felt like it felt more like, you know, somebody was just trying. It just kind of felt like somebody was just trying to finish something to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is how we're going to do it. I think that. I think it's great that, you know, Kevin Bacon was included, you know, but yeah, okay, I've seen Body Heat, okay, with Kathleen Turner. Mm-hmm. You know, like, I know what they're trying to do, the Louisiana detective, you know, whatever. Mm-hmm. You know, the only thing he was missing was a fan, fucking, you know, fanning his face. And I get that, but, like, why?
But I do, okay, I can understand, though, why they had the Kevin Bacon characters in there, because he's a detective that's a private dick that's hired by her father to find her and he's also a criminal, so he knows how to find criminals. And I think the whole point is the father was on him to keep following her, to keep an eye on her no matter what.
But she wasn't fucking hiding. She was there the whole time.
I know, but I think the father was like kind of edging him, because you keep seeing the gloved hand person with him. And I think it was, they had to instill fear into her. And part of his job was to instill fear into her, to make sure that she was supposed to be where she was supposed to be.
Well, yeah, I guess if they're making this weird, like, we're killing people anti-Hollywood movie, that makes sense that you would want to instill fear in your main actor.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So if they, you know, like, as she's seeing the Kevin Bacon character, they're clearly filming behind the scenes the entire time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So he was part of the movie, yeah. They're utilizing the fact that the Night Stalker is going around killing people, so they are actually kidnapping these women, and they're murdering people and leaving markings to actually cover it up and make it look like the Night Stalker's doing it.
Right, exactly.
But what the whole point is to instill fear into Maxxxine, and showing her that all the people around her are going to die. And, you know, these are like adult porn stars that are dying. I don't know if I can get too much into it, but anyways, pretty much anybody that's around her that's involved in her industry, the adult porn industry or the video industry or Hollywood, they're dying. Even an actress that's on a movie that she's filming that's not adult porn, is a remake of The Puritan, ends up dying because she's just a horror actress.
Well, that was the whole thing that kind of felt like a little muddled to me, because, like, you know, there was this whole satanic panic thing, and that was absolutely true. But, you know, like, I mean, it would make sense, I guess, that people would be, you know, like, they would be striking against this thing called The Puritan.
But that whole strike was set up by her father.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
but it just kind of muddies the narrative for me a little bit. It feels like it wanted to be like 5 or 6 different things at the same time.
Yeah.
And just, you know, like, I don't know. It just feels like I said, the best word to say is muddy at that point. You know what
Disjointed.
I mean? Yeah, it just feels kind of muddy. It feels like Ty was just trying to do so many different things at once. You know, I need to land the plane when it comes to the X trilogy, and I want to do this, and I want to focus on her career. And honestly, the stuff with her career was the most fascinating shit in the movie.
Oh, I know, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Elizabeth Debicki's character, she was the director. She was wonderful.
Oh, she is an amazing character.
Because we have so many directors out there, like even in the horror genre, that are just like, you know what? I'm trying to be fucking legit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm really trying to, you know, make something out of this shit movie.
Right.
That came out, you know, like
right.
You know. So that made sense, and just her journey was really interesting. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that she was trying to become mainstream and all that stuff was, like, really cool. I wish they focused more on that, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with all this other shit you have going on, you can't necessarily do that. You know what I mean? So let's talk about the ending, because the ending is really fascinating. I saw a lot of people bitching online about it, but, you know, like, Maxxine's, you know, like, she's getting this prosthetic head made in the middle of the movie. And then at the end, she does become the star that she wants to become. But, like, it's horror. So, like, she's going to have a scene where, like, her head gets chopped off, and they're going to focus on the effect and not the actual actor. Which is fucking awesome, because, like, that is what happens. Deborah Voorhees and Friday the 13th, or whoever. Like, there's so many people that are known for their deaths in horror.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
And Maxxine's, like, totally cool with it. She's just like, I never want this to end.
Yeah. and not only that, not only did she become famous for the movie, she also became famous because she killed another serial killer.
Survived 2 fucking massacres.
But while the Night Stalker had been caught, she had killed her father too. So she killed off another serial killer.
Yeah,
so
she survived 2 massacres. So she became super famous because of that. But in the horror world, like, you know, it's just like, hey, you're gonna get your head chopped off, and we're gonna focus on that.
Yeah.
You're not even in the scene.
You're not a survivor girl. You're done.
And that was great. I you know, because it makes sense. And again, you know, like, the fact that he did that, I mean, clearly, you know, shows that, you know, and that's something he said before. You know, I can continue this series if I want to. You know what I mean? He just doesn't know if he wants to or not.
Even with all of this being said, it is still a fantastic movie. It is still.
I 100% agree.
You still need to go watch it. I mean, it's still a really, really good movie. There's a lot of really good kills in it.
When this movie comes out in streaming, I'm absolutely, like, the best way to put it is I'm going to let this movie just fucking wash over me. I'm going to watch it like 3 or 4 times. And, you know, because there's been moments where I, you know, didn't really care for something the first time, and then you watch it, like, you know, maybe a couple more times, and then you feel like, oh, okay, I get it now. But it's not that I don't love the movie, and I love what Ty West did with the ending of this trilogy. It just felt, like you said, it felt disjointed. Just
a little bit. Some of the stuff felt a little disjointed. Mm-hmm.
This is Critics from the Crypt, as I said before. We wanted to talk about Maxxxine. Mm-hmm. And again, you know, this is where we're going to be talking about, you know, like horror films in full when it comes to reviews. We're not saying we didn't like this movie. I'm saying definitely go out and watch it. Watch it 1,000 times. Hold it up high. This is one of the greatest horror trilogies ever made.
I still give this movie 2 thumbs up.
That's Critics from the Crypt. Go see Maxxxine. It's fucking wonderful. And we'll scare you later. Talk to you soon.
Later.